Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our PayPal Business Bootcamp on reaching new customers online and in marketplaces. We created this event series to really help our business owners across the globe learn and execute, and of course, most importantly, grow. So each bootcamp is only 20 minutes, and that's because we know how valuable your time is. And so we're going to try to pack this full of really practical things that you can use and execute on in the future. Today, our panel and our panelists will be answering questions about how to reach new customers in online marketplaces and in social media. We have literally gotten hundreds of questions, which is amazing and speaks to how popular this topic is from business owners. So since we can't get to all of them, we really tried to group them up and batch them by theme. So that way we can cover the most common key themes and topics so that this is hopefully useful for as many of you as possible. So my name is Dr. Tiffany Raymond. I've been here at PayPal for 7 years, and I lead our customer advocacy division. That really means I have the really cool job of working with merchants all around the globe, consulting with them on optimizing and improving their digital presence. So thankfully today, I have two of our merchants with me today. I have Jason Lively from The Glitter Guy, who's joining us from New Jersey. And I have Tim Osborne from Equid, who's joining us from Nashville. So they are going to help me today. They're going to answer some questions. And so that we can get through as many questions as possible, I'm going to bounce back and forth between the two of them and challenge them to answer the question in about a minute or so. But before all of that, I'm going to give our panelists a chance to introduce themselves. And so Jason, let's start with you.
Sure, yeah, thanks. Hi, guys. I'm Jason Lively. I am the president of The Glitter Guy, LLC. I started this business in 2018 with my wife, Sarah. Just a short background, like my wife made cups on the side, and we decided to start a business out of that together. In 2 short years, we've gone from working out of a shed in our backyard to I have a 50,000 square foot warehouse that I just moved into, and in over 100 big box stores at this point now.
It's a really cool story. I love that. Tim, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I'm really bad at being brief, so we're going to see how that goes. But Tim Osborne, I'm the creative director at Equid ecommerce. So for those of you who don't know, Equid is a software as a service platform that helps business owners get started selling online faster and easier. So in addition to helping business owners sell across their own website, social media, marketplaces, all of those things, we also partner with our partners like PayPal to help our customers and their merchants transact online easier. A little bit about me. I've been helping business owners for about 6 years to define their audience and their messaging to grow their business and awareness online. And so a lot of what I say today is going to be coming from that perspective. But that is me in a nutshell.
All right, great intros. Thanks, guys. Well, Tim, since you've already got the mic, why don't we have you answer our first question, which I'm putting up on the screen here for everyone. And it's, how do you decide which online marketplace is right for your business?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think the first thing is, I don't think anyone should feel like they need to start selling on everywhere all at once right away. I think that's way too much for any business owner, especially someone just starting out. But I think it usually starts with answering basically 3 questions. So it's, who are you, what product are you selling, and who are you selling that product to? And just answering those 3 questions, I think, is enough to steer a lot of businesses in the right direction. For example, if you sell specialty items to a very niche market of collectors, then eBay is going to be a great place to start. If you've gotten your start on social media and you've cut your teeth there, and that's where your audience is and that's where your addressable market is, then you're going to want to start on that social media channel. If you don't immediately steer yourself into one direction and you've got maybe multiple really good options, then the next thing you want to do is start looking at what kind of constraints you have. So time, budget, your skill level, and then direct yourself from there. So for example, a lot of platforms have different fee structures. And so you might need to look at, well, what is my profit margin? What do I need to maintain in order to be profitable? And that can steer you in one direction or another. Or how much can I afford per month to access a specific platform? Additionally, skill level, I think, is a huge one that people can overlook. So there are some platforms like Amazon, for example, that historically require a little more experience to be successful. So if you're relatively inexperienced and you have some other options that could work for you, maybe steer clear of that one to start out and maybe start on a website or start selling on Facebook. But I think, yeah, defining who your audience is, what you're selling, who you're selling it to, and then looking at your constraints is really the best way to get started deciding where you want to be.
That was really great. I like thinking about those along those three factors, and I suspect that'll influence a lot of our answers that we see here today. All right, Jason, I'm going to kick this next one over to you. What would you recommend to a business owner looking to learn more about how to leverage social media to grow their business or reach more customers?
Sure, great question. So for me, keep it short, sweet, and to the point. Most of the time, people are scrolling fast and glancing at their headlines on social media. You don't want your message or your ad to get missed because it was TLDR or too long didn't read. Like finding that perfect balance where you give as much information on your product, your sale, or your software, whatever it may be, and attaching it to a visual that's memorable is key. For the visual portion, what's worked for us is a combination of incorporating our logo and company colors in anything visual we do, down to the smallest details. So like blue and almost magenta are company colors, and we use them in everything. And creation of a company mascot that's drawn so that we can change his outfits or themes to match the season and sell at the time is something else that we did incorporated with that. So that's just what's worked for us though. But the same recognizable effect can be achieved with monograms, slogans, even memes. But definitely a mixture of all those items can be beneficial to leveraging the social media.
I like that call out about the memorable visuals. That's a really impactful one. Okay, well, I think we're going to kind of volley back and forth here. So now we're going to send it back over to Tim's way. And for a business owner who started on an online marketplace, how could they transition to selling on their own website? This is a common path we see among our merchant population.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, so I think for merchants who start on a website, it's really easy to transition to a marketplace. But for someone who's starting on a marketplace, it's a little more challenging. And I think that is because the marketplaces, Amazon, eBay, they tend to want to own their customers. They want to own the sales process, and they don't want your customers going out and making purchases on a different platform. They want them to stay in that platform, and rightfully so. That's how they grow their business. And so it's a little bit more challenging, but there are some good workarounds. And the nice thing is you already have an established audience who enjoys your products, who are buying your products. And so it just takes a little bit of a nudge to get them from that marketplace and into your website. And there are a few good tactics that you can try. I think the biggest and the easiest one is changing the links in your profile to highlight your website. Definitely do that. Another really big one is when you're sending out a package that someone has purchased, in that package, slip in a card with your brand, your website, and a little discount. Maybe it's 10% off, maybe it's 15% off, to incentivize them to make their next purchase from your website directly instead of going onto one of those marketplaces. Or even just dropping a sticker into a box with your URL. I think that's a really good way to get that domain, that URL out into the world. And people love stickers. I have this water bottle, just literally just covered in stickers. People love them. And then once you have a website, it's really, really good because connecting with your customers gets so much easier. You get the opportunity to build email lists and start connecting in that way. You get a home base that elevates you and your brand and not another marketplace. And then you have the opportunity to reach new audiences that maybe aren't shopping on Amazon or aren't shopping on eBay or what have you. So yeah.
That's great. I think that connects back to what Jason was saying also about those memorable visuals, right? If you're enclosing that card or that sticker or, that sort of extra item inside the package, again, that sort of direct mail approach inside is really, intriguing way to drive some of that usage. So great answer.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, Jason, I think you're up here. Are paid ads on social media effective for generating sales? This is, again, another common question we get because people are putting money towards things. Is there going to be a return on that investment?
Right, sure. So the short answer is absolutely yes. I mean, this ties back in a little bit with my previous question in that you want to maximize your investments with concise, memorable ads, rising Make it something that's funny, make it something that pops. Like one of the ads that I do on Facebook, I mean, I own a glitter company, so it's very visual. I literally just have a hand that is just has falling off of it. It's mesmerizing. People are going to remember that. So with that said, find the social media home that works best for you. Facebook and Instagram is where my business thrives. We own 2 Facebook groups. One has 50,000 and another has 100,000 members. So I know by default that a large portion of my customer base dwells on Facebook. So it makes it a no-brainer for me to do paid ads there. We currently see around a 20 times ROI, return on investment, of our Facebook ad campaigns, but there's definitely a point of oversaturation. So for example, if I take that 20 times ROI on, like, let's say a $3,000 per month investment, but I expect that to remain, trending in that fashion with a 20K investment, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. It's not going to happen. So balance is key. Like, you want to be in everyone's face enough that you're relevant, but not so much that everyone's going to start clicking that hide button that you're in their faces a little too much.
Yeah, that's a really great answer. I like that point about straddling that line, right? As far as what you're putting into that ad spend. And I think, it's a great time to just kind of mention also that PayPal has a sell on social solution that our small business owners can access via their business accounts and really, log into our social dashboard and then create postings there. So you can add images, product descriptions, how you want to ship things, and then consumers can just purchase directly from there. Because you can post it on Facebook, Instagram, those social media platforms that you were just talking about. So another kind of way to penetrate into that market. Great. Okay. All right. Back over to you, Tim. Can you give us some tips on how to manage selling on several online marketplaces at once? I think you kind of touched on this a little bit already.
Yeah, I think the biggest tip is to automate everything. Automate everything that you can. I think one of the biggest benefits of modern e-commerce platforms is they give you the ability to automate so much of the sales and the business management process. And I think the biggest one, particularly for someone who's looking to sell on multiple channels and marketplaces, is the ability to automate your product catalog and your inventory sync. So the great thing about products like Ecwid is you basically set up your product catalog one time, and then you connect other channels, and it just feeds that product catalog into those channels. So you only manage that one centralized inventory. So it saves you a lot of time. For example, if someone buys a product on your website, that item will be removed from Amazon, from Instagram, from Facebook, anywhere else that you're selling it. So you don't have to go in and do that manually, and you can't double sell it. Also, if you need to go in and update a product name or description or price, you can do that one time, and it's mirrored across all of your channels. So that really, really streamlines that process. Some other things that are important to automate, and you can automate with these platforms, are things like abandoned cart emails. So when someone comes to your site, leaves without making a purchase, your e-commerce platform will automatically kick out that message saying, hey, you left this in your cart, maybe come back and buy it. And there's a huge conversion on messages like that. Also product display ads, tax calculations, and a billion other things. But yes, definitely my biggest tip, automate, automate, automate.
I think that's really wise. And again, as a business owner, you're strapped for time. So look for those efficiencies and, lean into them where you can. And again, I like your point also about making sure you're not selling inventory that you don't actually have anymore. And if it removes those listings automatically, that's really going to help you with your customer satisfaction and loyalty.
Yep.
Great. Okay, let's go back over to you, Jason. What tactics have you found to be effective for making sales and growing your audience on social media?
Right. So this is really like my bread and butter here. So Facebook groups have proven to be an excellent way to connect with our customer base. It allows customers to ask very particular questions, and we can make sure they're getting the right answers instead of possibly getting false information. So something common in my groups is I'll see a question like, what's the best royal blue? And I carry a lot of blues, so instead I can avoid a customer that maybe thinks that a color is more particular to what they're looking for, but there was a better option. In seconds, they get 20 plus comments and instant feedback so that they can avoid having those issues, and then I can avoid having to answer, angry emails because there was misunderstandings. It's also creating the sort of bond between us and our customer base where it feels a lot more like a giant family or community that takes care of each other. And something Sarah and I have been extremely passionate about is the manner in which we run our groups and the way people are treated. And far too often, we find that these Facebook groups are overrun with negativity, and we simply don't allow that in ours whatsoever. We want our customers to be able to build each other up and feel comfortable reaching out to one another. So by maintaining our core values like that, in that way, our group's numbers have only ever grown. And with that, our customer base has only ever grown. And with that as well, our ability to advertise and communicate with them in a direct and free manner is definitely the hugest benefit that we found when it comes to the Facebook groups.
I love that answer. That's really great. And I love that, really the positivity and really encouraging, people are at all different, your customers are at all different levels as far as, what the kinds of projects they're doing. And so to be able to really, share that in a safe way, really, I think goes back to that, driving that loyalty piece, which is so important. Really cool. All right, let's head back over and talk to Tim. How much time and budget should a business invest into social media?
Such a good question, and a question I've gotten for many, many years. So I think you hit the nail on the head there with that word invest. So everyone always thinks, I've got to be on every social media channel all the time. Right when I start, I need a TikTok, I need a Facebook, I need a Twitter, I need all these things. And it's just not true. Consistency on social media is always more important than volume. So the question you have to ask yourself is, how much can you realistically do consistently, and then do that. It's better to be regular on a single platform than irregular on every platform. It's better to address one audience really, really well than try to address every audience poorly. So just be honest with yourself about what you can handle. So for example, if you start on Instagram, maybe that's your first marketplace as well, then create a routine and then be disciplined to do that routine. So maybe you start with just one post a week, and you do one post a week until you're comfortable with that. And you're like, yes, I can do a little bit more. Then you maybe bump it up to 2 posts a week or 3 posts a week. And then when you're comfortable with that, when you're comfortable with organic posting, then try advertising. Start with a reasonable amount. Start with maybe $100 and do that for the first month. And then try, repeat. When you're more comfortable, bump it up to 200, 300. But I think the mistake people make is thinking, I've got to go all in right away. And you don't. And that's probably the best way to burn out and never do social media again. So start small, grow from there. You'll have tons of opportunities as your business grows.
Yeah, I really like that perspective. And I think, sometimes we're all optimistic about what we think we can do. So I think really what you're advocating for here is that sort of, crawl, walk, run model, right? Make sure that you can do this, and then you can keep adding more, and that's okay.
Yes, you can always add more.
X before you add Y. And I think that's really wise, because you're in it for the long haul.
100%.
Great. Okay. All right. Let's head back over and talk to Jason. How can I discover if my target audience is on a specific social media channel or online marketplace?
Right. So this is coming from somebody that literally has zero background when I launched this business in this. So this is how, my wife and I went about it. Analytics, research, and not being too intimidated by either of those things. There's multiple free tools at your disposal, and taking the time to learn how to utilize them to their fullest extent is absolutely a must. Most hosting websites should have the ability to track and pull reports on the back end. My company uses Shopify to host our website, and there's tons of reports that I can gather and create, and they're extremely easy to pull up and use and to learn. Like I said, I had zero background when I started this. You can go even a step further than that, and you can use Google Analytics, which is a little more thorough and also free. Literally don't have to pay to use it, and it's extremely beneficial. Furthermore, Shopify has third-party apps and plugins that you can pay small monthly fees if you really want even more information further than that, and it'll integrate with your Shopify Analytics, it'll integrate your Google Analytics, it'll take it all together, and it'll really deliver it to you in an extremely easy to read spreadsheet. You'd be surprised at how quickly you become accustomed to reading and interpreting all this information once you get past that initial intimidation factor.
I love that. That's great advice, jumping in. And I like that you really are encouraging us by letting us know, hey, you're a veteran of this process, and it worked for you. And I think it kind of goes back to, what Tim was talking about, just try it and, kind of back to that crawl, walk, run, right? Maybe start with the tools that are inside, Shopify or the platform that you're using. And then you can think about, expanding to more tools as you sort of, gain comfort and things move up. So, all right. Well, this is going to be our last question for today, unfortunately, because I think we could just keep going. But all right, send this one back over to Tim. How does a new e-commerce business gain customers in a space that feels so full? I think this is something people worry about, right? Everyone seems to be selling something, and how do we stand out and kind of differentiate?
Yeah, I would say even with as full as e-commerce feels like it is, there's still so many opportunities to differentiate yourself. So don't panic, don't be intimidated. But I would say all differentiation in e-commerce today boils down to one or more of about 6 things: product, price, distribution, customer service, brand experience, and guarantees. And you will stand out based on one of those 6 things. But I think to answer this question, I have to go all the way back to what I said at the very beginning of this webinar, which it all starts with answering 3 key questions before you can really determine how am I going to differentiate myself. And those questions, again, are who are you as a business? What products are you selling? And who are you selling it to? And then once you know that, you'll be better equipped to spot those gaps in your industry that you and your business are uniquely suited to fill. Then once you define whatever that differentiation is, the best thing you can do is lean so hard into that thing. So if you're going to be the cheapest, you own it. You're the cheapest, you make sure everyone knows about it. If you're the fastest, prove it every chance you get. Have as much social proof as you can. Are you going to have the best product in your category? Lean on reviews. Have reviews everywhere. Make that the backbone of how you market yourself. If it's brand experience, carry that from the first second they land on your homepage all the way through to when they receive their package, whatever's in the package, how it's boxed, make that all about your brand experience. And if it's a guarantee, put it front and center on your website, right on your homepage, and make sure they know about it. I think the key is it's whoever you are as a company, whatever it is that you do best, make sure that your customers know that, make sure that you stick to that you stand by that thing, and always be looking for as many opportunities as you can to reinforce whatever that differentiation is.
I like that. I think we're really saying, you can't be everything to everyone. So figure out what it is that you really are, and then continue showcasing that, because that will be meaningful to the audience and the customers who, come along and ride along with you, and then continue to smell those forces.
100%.
Great. Okay. Oh, this has been so great. I hope everyone who's listening in is getting as much out of this. All right. So we are winding down here, unfortunately. But that's really what we've got for today. And those were great questions. And thanks to everyone who's on here, who's listening in, and, help send these questions in to help us evolve what we talked about here today. But if we didn't get to your question, don't despair. We are going to put a column on PayPal's Business Resource Center answering some additional questions. So that stay tuned for that. And then we've got a checklist here that you can download, which Tim and Jason were so very kind to, help us put together as they are the experts really on some of those key questions as you pick, marketplaces and channels that are best for your business. So most importantly, I want to thank our 2 amazing panelists. So they are both fantastic. Thank you so much, Jason. And thank you so much, Tim, for coming and joining and sharing such rich expertise with all of us. I think this was just phenomenal.